Entitled mother tried her hardest to get a relationship with my dad. Goes terribly wrong for her life, eternally. This happened when my parents were in their mid-20s. They're already in the 50s range. This story was told from my mother. I'm gonna cut some sentences out of it. Our cast are Mum, entitled parent, Dad, Kid 1, they're the first child, and NFM, nearby family member. So let's begin. So my parents were like around their mid-20s, very young. Having their first child meant work for my dad. That's what he did, he went to work. Now here's the story of my dad's history. Before they had their first child, there was this woman, entitled mother, who wanted to go out with my dad. My dad said, "No, I'm a married man. Sorry, I came here to party with friends." After the party, entitled mother follows my dad. He didn't care at the time. When my dad found out she was following him, he told her to F off. Go home, you're drunk. Well, entitled mother did not budge. My dad went easy as she meant no harm at the moment. After that party, my dad told my mum that he met this crazy lady, and he said, "She tried to date me and later followed me. Keep aware about that lady." Moving on, entitled mother found out where my parents lived. She was hiding beneath somewhere, saw my parents kissed, and that made her mad. My parents heard something and saw someone. My dad's first instinct was that lady from that bar. Well, yes, he described the woman to my mother. And now to the first paragraph, as my dad left to work. My mum is now in charge of the house. She was mopping the kitchen area and decided to go mop the diner area, and that is where she slipped on oil. My mother was pregnant at the time when she slipped. Kid 1 came in crying after my mum and nearby family member came to the scene, and they called for an ambulance. Someone came out from the front door. Nearby family member chases the person, which the anonymous ran away. Nearby family member described my mum, and everything shattered. She told the family member that it was entitled mother, the one that wanted to go out with my dad. The ambulance came and checked if everything is okay. She came out well, but when she heard the news about the newborn, she was crying. The newborn is pronounced dead. My dad rushed to the hospital and heard the news. He was ticked, very ticked. He called police to track the woman, but they never found her. My dad unleashed hell over himself because he felt that it was his fault for going to a party with friends. Years after, entitled mother comes back, when my dad was relaxing with his 2 children. Entitled mother introduces herself to my dad. My dad comes with a nice response, but when entitled mother told her, "Don't you remember me?" my dad's world went into heaven to hell. He worked for the military this time. He screamed and yelled hell, putting entitled mother to the ground. Kid 1 called the cops. Entitled mother had a child that she never mentioned. The child was innocent and scared, later being held in custody for a better family. Entitled mother was jailed for a young murder, and attempted to kill my mum, and trespassing property. Entitled mother tried her hardest to bail out, pulling the innocent card. We had fingerprint evidence, obviously you know who won the case. Years passed. Entitled mother was free from jail, but her life is now ruined with no home to stay. No food, no water, or clothes. First thing was to come to my parents' house, which was a mistake as my dad held his rifle at the front of the entitled mother. He told everything to her, telling her, "You already did a lot of damage to my family, and now I've already damaged your life forever. Your kid is no longer with you. You have nowhere to stay. Get lost or get shot down." Entitled mother left. Years passed. My mother told me the rest of the story. Entitled mother is now homeless, begging for money on the streets, striving on the streets. Everyone in my family says entitled mother, that one beautiful, rich, a chance to go out with now being one entitled bitch, who tried to go out with my dad and did the unexpected, later being homeless. To this day and time she still is. I hope you guys don't ever experience this type of entitlement to any of y'all, to the point of murdering a future family member. My dad, to this day, still feels like he's the one to blame. My mom now has a hole in her heart. My one brother still hates that he didn't do anything, and family member feels terribly about this accident. Thank you for reading this. I felt like reading one of these comments down below. By Babsorella WT. My dad, a doctor who's now 70, once had a delusional patient fall in love with him when he was just starting his practice. Dad was happily married to Mum, 43 years strong now, and had zero interest in this patient. The patient's husband comes home one day and finds her sitting by the door with a packed bag saying, "Doctor, my dad, is in love with me and we're running away together." Luckily, her husband knew she was Looney Tunes, called my dad and let him know what was up. Like in your story, years pass. Less than a decade ago, a quote-unquote new patient shows up at my dad's practice. Well, Dad does not recognize her, until his nurse goes, that's her. Crazy lady who said you were running away with her? Oh, because Dad's nice, and because it's been decades, he gave her another chance. Oh, big mistake. She immediately took that as a sign of, he's loved me all these years. Got my mum's work number and told her that she and Dad had been having an affair for decades. Mum laughed at her and told her to get help. Needless to say, she was dismissed from the practice and issued a cease and desist. Our next story was posted by user TechnoBabel, titled, "Entitled Dad Demands Used Car Be Given to His Son Instead of Serious Buyers." So I'm relaying this story as told to me by my friend, a mechanic trying to help out his brother, as he encounters an entitled dad. We'll call him the mechanic in the story. There is some backstory, but if you want to skip it, start at Enter the Entitled Dad below, but we're not going to do that. The mechanic's brother recently got a new job. To get to this job every day, he borrowed his father-in-law's car. He did not know how long he would be able to use the car and did not have the money to buy his own. The mechanic offered to find a cheap car, fix it up, and give it to his brother, who might pay him back someday in the future. The first person the mechanic checked with was his boss. The boss owned and managed the shop the mechanic worked at and had a side business fixing up and flipping cars. He sold the mechanic a '98 Toyota Corolla at a cost that still needed to be fixed up for $600. The mechanic told his brother that a car was on the way and started fixing it up. He spent $175 on parts, bringing the total cost to $775. With the car fixed and ready, the brother informed his father-in-law that he would be returning the borrowed car. The father-in-law had a surprise. His intention all along was to give the car to him as a gift. He was waiting for his daughter's fast-approaching wedding anniversary to announce it. He had no knowledge of the mechanic's efforts to this point. Well, the mechanic told his boss he would be willing to buy it back at $775, but then the labor would be for nothing. The boss convinced him to try to sell the car himself. So he listed the car at $1,100, knowing he would be haggled down, and received quite a few inquiries. Only 2 were interested enough to come out to see the car. He scheduled them on the same day, an hour apart. The time for the first showing came and went with no one showing up. The mechanic assumed they were no longer interested and waited for the second appointment. Right on time for the second showing, 2 men arrived. The mechanic greeted them and they immediately started discussing the car. They talked about mileage, reliability, the work done on the car, all the normal stuff. Then they went on the test drive. Enter Entitled Dad. When the potential buyers, the PBs, returned from the test drive with the mechanic, there was a car full of people waiting for them. A man got out of the car from the driver's seat. The mechanic approached him. Before he could speak, the man said, "Where the hell have you been?" The mechanic was shocked. "And you are?" "We had an appointment." "That was over an hour ago," the mechanic replied. He assumed the man was referring to the earlier appointment. The teenage boy emerged from the passenger seat. "Is that my car, Daddy?" the teen asked. "Yes, son. It will be soon." The mechanic was somewhat dumbfounded. He looked at the car that the entitled dad and his son had arrived in and saw a woman and 2 small children in the back seat. It looked like they were keeping their heads down. The teen approached the car for sale as the two potential buyers had just test drove it and moved away, one of them on his phone. "It's rusty," the teen said, while pointing to a rust spot on the passenger's door. "Yeah, looks pretty shitty." Entitled Dad turned to the mechanic. "Does this piece of crap even run?" "You saw us arrive in it, and you saw the rust spot in the photos." "Not worth the asking price." "Those two guys are on time, so you can wait if you scheduled 2 showings at the same time." "No, you were late." The mechanic turned away to talk to the 2 potential buyers. "Hey," Entitled Dad exclaimed, "forget those guys. I'll give you $550 in cash." One of the potential buyers laughed. The Entitled Dad amused him. The mechanic continued to face away from the Entitled Dad. "If you're not serious about this, just leave," he said, while walking towards the potential buyers. Entitled Dad's son got in the car and sat in the driver's seat. "Hey!" The mechanic knew that they left the key in the ignition. The next moment, the engine rumbled to life and the teen sat back in the seat with his hands on the steering wheel. "Hey!" the mechanic yelled again, and ran to the driver's side door, which was still open. He reached in and shut the car off, taking the keys. "Get out!" "Daddy!" the teenager called out. It creeped the mechanic out how the teenage boy kept calling his father Daddy. "Are you okay, son?" Entitled Dad glared at the mechanic. "He's trying it out." "No, he's not. Take your kid and leave." The teen ran from the car and leaned against his father's side with an exaggerated sad face. "He's just a kid," Entitled Dad explained. "He wants a car, so give him the car and you'll get your $550. "We'll take it," the potential buyer who was on his phone a moment ago called out, making sure that everyone could hear him. "We'll pay what we agreed to." They had not agreed to anything yet, but the mechanic jumped on his chance for an out. "Ooh, sorry, you've been outbid, but $550 is way too low." "Anyone who pays more for this piece of crap is a moron." Entitled Dad roughly grabs his son's wrist and practically throws him back into their car, without another word, and he drives off. One of the potential buyers could not hide his amusement and kept laughing. The other smiled at the mechanic. "We really do want the car," he said. "Now that asshole is gone, we can talk about price. If you agree to $980, we can give you that in cash right now." The mechanic agreed, making a $200 plus profit. Our next story was posted by user Catadum, titled, "Entitled Mother Thinks My Gaming Laptop Belongs to Her Angel." So this story is a little more brief. Not that long, but definitely scared me. Here's a little bit of context. Our local library has a teen zone, and it is a space used for studying, computer arts, etc. You must at least be in the 8th grade for a starter, which would be up to 90 minutes of computer time and 2 hours of study time, so they get a feel for it. Once you're in high school, you get unlimited of everything. Time to meet the cast, yay! Me, obviously yours truly, EM, Entitled Mom, EK, Entitled Kid, P, the kind of person that helps me, and L, the librarian. So this journey starts with me chilling in the teen zone, playing Rocket League on my laptop. I'm extremely attached to Ranked, and is definitely my favorite game. Champ 2 if anyone's wondering. There was this kid that always came into the teen zone and would constantly annoy people. The demon spawn approaches me, and he says, "What you doing?" "Just playing video games. Can I help you?" "Yeah, actually, can I try?" "Not this game, but I do have others." "But I want to play that one." He proceeds to blatantly push his fingers up on the screen on my car, literally pushing against the screen. Okay, a few things. 1, don't touch my screen. Just don't. 2, you're not playing this game. And 3, beggars can't be choosers, buddy. Entitled Kid, you're mean. I'm getting mom. Anyways, he walks over to this lady who, by the way, is yelling at the librarian. I see the kid pulling his mum's shirt. She turns around and begins talking to him. She looks right at me, dead in the fudging eyes. Like, frig this crap, I'm out of here. Bum dum dum. She's doing the angry, entitled mother pissy walk towards me. Entitled mother, give it! She has her palm outstretched and is gesturing towards me. No, I don't think I will. What are you doing? I don't even do anything! I believe you have my son's laptop. What the hell? Are you high? He said you didn't give him a turn on your game, so therefore he needs his turn. Sucks to suck, lady. You and your son don't have the right to use my property without my permission. So, you lost. Now leave, I'm playing ranked. This little crap said that he still has 30 more minutes to be in the teen zone. Then, Mum ends it right there. Well, if you're not gonna hand it over, I guess I'll confiscate it. This bitch! She slams the screen shut onto my fingers. This crap is expensive. Handle with care, you bloody bee. Then she yoinks it from me and storms off, while my mouse is dangling off the edge. I'm just speechless, and in comes the beautiful P. P says, I'm gonna help you, hang tight, and they begin to speed walk to the entitled mother. I follow. Hey, what's that? Where you going? Entitled mother ignores her. Excuse me, ma'am, I'm gonna take that back from you. P yoinks the laptop out of her hands. Yikes. Give it back! This is mine! Stop it! P hands me back my laptop, and the librarian shows up. Librarian. You might as well leave. We have security cameras streaming 24/7 in every room. You can get a serious fine from stealing from a minor. Entitled mother starts pointlessly yelling at librarian, and entitled kid is just leaving like Lamau. He looks like he's just had enough. All ends up in entitled mother and entitled kid leaving, and I thank P and librarian. P.S. I asked P out to lunch sometime. We've been together for about 1.5 years now. And our next story was posted by user Alia Miller, 16, titled, Entitled Kid Tries to Yeet Me Across a Retail Store. Entitled Mother, LOL. A few weeks ago, I was out shopping with my mum at our local Target, Target if you're nasty. No, that's culture, it is Target. And like most people who entered Target on a Saturday, I immediately lost all track of time and space and ended up in the clearance clothes area. Minding my own business, looking for some sweet $12.47 cardigans, you know the drill, there is a family near me, 2 entitled mothers, maybe an entitled aunt, and several entitled kids about 9 to 12 years old, who I'm aware of because they're quite loud. Running, screeching, etc. Whatever, you know, Target and clearance cardigans get people excited. Hell, I'm excited. It's totally cool. Until I'm quietly browsing through the racks and a hand grabs my ankle. Now I'm the one doing the screeching. But of course, it's one of the entitled kids. He's laughing, so proud of scaring me and his amazing joke. And because I'm generally a nice, pleasant gremlin, I laugh with him and make eye contact with entitled Mother 1 in a sort of kids-will be kids kind of way. Fast forward about 6 minutes later when something large and the size of a 12-year-old slams into my back, grabs me hard around the waist from behind, and generally knocks the wind out of me. This is a problem for 2 reasons. The first being that I fell off my horse and was trampled by him 5 days ago. I ride horses competitively, hunter/jumpers if you're curious, and it wasn't his fault and he was very sorry. This necessitated a ride in an ambulance, a fractured pelvis, and most importantly the second problem, 4 very broken ribs. This happy excursion to Target was actually my first time out of the house in 5 days and my first day without crutches, so I was moving pretty gingerly. It turns out Entitled Kid 1 was apparently so emboldened by his hilarious grabbing the lady's ankle joke that he decided to get a running start and slam into me from the back while simultaneously grabbing my waist and screeching. I'm horrified, and immediately in horrible lightning in front of your eyes style pain. It hurt so fudging bad. I shoved the still laughing entitled kid off of me and looked straight at the entitled mother, who was standing no further than 3 feet in front of me while this was going on. She's laughing. Entitled Kid 1 is so cute and funny. I managed to scream, literally scream, "I have 4 broken ribs, don't touch me!" She does nothing. I'm struggling to keep standing upright at this point, and start calling for my mum to come help me. 60, not super great at hearing, but please don't tell her I told you. She rushes over, I manage to tell her what happened. We're both looking at the entitled mother, and now entitled auntie, expecting at best an apology, or at worst, just bare acknowledgement that that just happened, but nothing. Entitled mother and entitled auntie grab the entitled kids and bail. Meanwhile, I am barely upright and having trouble breathing. My wonderful mum helps me out of the car. We go home, empty-handed, no clearance cardigans, no Tupperware, no light bulbs, no peanut butter. And 4 hours later, I'm still in bad shape, leading to another visit to the emergency response room, and the knowledge that my ribs were apparently fusing, but had been refractured very slightly. I just wanted a cardigan. Edit, grammar, missing word. Edit 2. For everyone commenting re-pressing charges, first of all, this was all a child playing. A literally child. A jerk entitled mother 1 for sure, but still a kid playing around that made a mistake and went too far. It wasn't intentionally malicious. There was a lot of giggling along with the screeching, if that helps. I have excellent insurance. There's nothing to be done for broken ribs other than let them heal. And if I would have been healthy, I would have been ticked at being touched but unharmed. I've got the attitude that everyone makes mistakes sometimes, especially when you're 12 with a crappy entitled mother who doesn't teach you acceptable behavior. Also, maybe this kid was neuroatypical? Who knows? Not something the law needs to handle. Our next story was posted by a user, "Stop wasting time, Brent," titled, "I snapped at Karen." Let me start off with the fact that I have been skateboarding for well over 15 years, and anything that could happen at a skate park, I have probably seen happen from super awesome cool tricks to pot smokers, fights, overall counterculture debauchery, and a fair few entitled parents who think their little angels could do no wrong. As I have been growing older and more experienced, 2 major things can go wrong at a skate park to cause injury. First, going bigger and higher than your personal skill level. Second, small unsupervised children being oblivious to the dangerous, fast-paced environment around them, inevitably causing a last-second ditch effort to not literally plow them over and send them straight to the emergency room. A counter-argument to the last statement might be to watch closer to these obviously more vulnerable people. In all honesty, that works a vast majority of the time. Small children are unpredictable by nature. Combine this with a dangerous environment, it can cause chaos in very short, hard-to-react-to bursts. That being said, let's get to the entitled parent I'm going to call Karen from here. It's about 4:30 p.m. in central US at a skate park with a full-time dedicated security detail. This park is a part of a much larger complex of parks in the area that has been privately funded. I am with a couple of friends, and the skate park is very busy. It's the first nice Saturday where everything is dry, the sun is out and warm with not a cloud in the sky after 2 weeks of constant rain. I am a local at this park and know at least 10 to 15 other locals by name or nickname. Due to the nice day and beautiful weather, randoms decide it's time to leave the nest for the afternoon and visit the local parks. Brat number 1 is on a skateboard. Brat number 2 is on a Walmart-bought Razor scooter. At first, I am paying them no mind. They are not bothering me or anyone else that I am with. As time goes by, the 2 brat brothers are increasingly annoying some of the younger locals who voice their discontent. A couple more incidents of them being told not to snake, cut off other people. Brat number 1 says in a very arrogant tone, "That's my brother you're talking to," at one of the locals. This is where I felt it necessary to now voice my discontent, as I think they are in the wrong and I don't want 2 brothers picking a fight. I told brat number 1 that brat number 2 needs to watch out for other people. Brat number 1 stuck his nose up at me. I shrugged this off. I would have done the same thing if a strange man told me something like that at his age. I am not an authority figure. He doesn't have to listen to me, and I get that. At one point, one of the brats decided to sit down and lay on a ramp that is skated on very frequently. This caused not only myself, but a couple of the local kids to say something. The brat moves deeper into the pool area. It's about a 100 yards of connected ramps going from 2 feet to 15 feet ramps. I am now keeping a closer eye on them due to these recurring issues with other kids their age. 15 minutes or so passes, and I'm going for a trick at full speed, rolling into a part of the 8-foot section from above. Brat 2 was down there headed towards the shallow end. I feel it's safe to continue with my trick attempt. Right as I've crossed the point of no return on rolling into this very steep ramp, the brat does a 180 on me and turns back towards the deep end, causing me to kick my board away and slam shoulder first into the opposite part of the halfpipe, and loudly and colourfully yell at him to watch out, the only time I use profanity in this entire situation. Brat number 1 is now helping brat number 2 climb out of the 10-foot section, because they do not want to cross my path again, and also accusing me of not watching out. So I say to them, "I know you're not talking to me." Brat 1, "Yes, I am talking to you. You almost hit my brother." Me, "You two have been constantly in the way all day. I've been skating longer than you've been alive. If I wasn't watching out, you'd have a broken arm or worse right now, so shut your mouth." I am very angry at this point, and want nothing to do with these children, and I'm being very vocal about it. I do not enjoy yelling at children. It does not make me feel like a big man, only a jerk. Skate parks are dangerous enough without having to dodge unpredictable children. After this exchange of words, they run off to Mama Bear. I say to myself, "Go on, tell your mum, I'll yell at her too." I am livid by this point, and honestly just want to skate. Sure enough, within a minute or two, Karen comes stomping over to me, all huffy and puffy. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" and tries to get in my way. No! I dodge and roll into the 8-foot halfpipe. I tell her at this point because I know what she's trying to do and I do not want this confrontation. So I go to the other side of the 8-foot halfpipe so she cannot get in my face or touch me. Pulling a full entitled parent move I've seen before when somebody else has to deal with this scenario, she sits on the obstacle I've been skating for the last half hour or so, where the brats have been routinely snaking people. Karen, "What gives you the right to talk to my kids like that?" Me, now furious at the situation and going to snap, not wanting to deal with this after already having told her no, I do not want to talk to her, I laid into her, loud enough that she couldn't get a word in without screaming over me. "Your kids are in the way and creating a dangerous environment for themselves and everyone around them by being oblivious to the flow of the skate park. I am not responsible for their safety and should not be expected to watch your dumb children." Karen now screaming back at me, "But they're my kids." I cut her off before she can say another word. "I don't care. I do not care if they're your kids." "But I care." "If you care, then you should watch them closer. Their safety is your responsibility, not mine. I should not feel obligated to care for an out-of-control orgasm you decided to keep. I've been skating longer than they've been alive, and to make me supervise your brats is not okay." Karen is clearly shocked at this point and has no words for me. She decides to scurry off to the fat meth-mouth security guard they have stationed at the gate, who is usually only looking up from Candy Crush to yell at teenagers for vaping or smoking cigarettes. I explained the situation to the security guard in a calm voice after she managed to hobble over to me. Siding with me, and talking with a couple of other parents of locals I know. She only said to bring any issue like that to security first. I agreed and went back to skating. Karen and her brats disappeared after this. TLDR, brats in everyone's way. Karen tries to yell at me, I lay down the facts loudly and angrily. Security gets involved and sides with me. Karen and brats disappear. Edit, thanks for the silver, kind stranger. This is my first Reddit award ever. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. This is the end of this one today. Tell me what you liked about it in the comments section below. Sorry there wasn't an upload last night. I was celebrating my 22nd birthday, so Happy birthday to me. I'm going to be releasing more 30-minute episodes of Entitled Parents. There's going to be one after this, or this could be the one after that. I'm not too sure. Yeah, if there's anything else you want to see, tell me, because I have plans to release a whole bunch of 1-hour episodes of pro-revenge, malicious compliance, choosing beggars, petty revenge, and just no mother-in-law. Maybe some tales from retail, tales from tech support. I'm not sure. I'm just going to experiment, see what YouTube likes, I guess, because the videos are starting to pick up again. Anyway, I hope you've had a good day, and if you want to see those really long episodes, tell me in the comments. And I guess I'll see you on. Bye.